which qualified him to administer the injection to the other. The colleague receiving it was Olivia Gregor, Junior Social Economy Minister.
As he got ready to give the injection in front of television cameras at Necker Hospital in Paris, Veron struggled to put on a surgical glove, which he put down to being out of practice. But his patient, who is pregnant and was getting her second dose of vaccination on Tuesday, said she was not worried. She said she had complete faith. After the injection was done, she told Veron she had not felt a thing. The public vaccination was designed to encourage people to get a jab, to head off what some public health officials in France warned could turn into a fourth wave of the virus. To date, around 60% of people in France have had at least the first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine.
All right, it all sums out to the campaign that French or citizens and those living in France to make sure that they get vaccinated. You remember that some days ago there was a lot of rows on the streets of France as they protested against the compulsory vaccinated put in place by France President Emmanuel Macron. So away from France now, let's go to the UK as UK's continuing drop in cases of COVID-19 numbers could be explained in part by gatherings around the Euro 2020 Soccer Championships. Now, this is according to an epidemiologist. Britain on Tuesday recorded 23,511 COVID-19 cases, the 7th consecutive day with a lower total than the previous day, but 131 deaths were registered within 28 days of a positive test, the highest figure since March 2021, according to official data.
The closure of schools for summer, the end of the Euros and warmer weather are among factors epidemiologists say might have reduced social mixing indoors and therefore cases, even as England's economy has fully reopened.
And there's certainly indications from Scotland where, if you remember, Scotland left the tournament significantly earlier than England, that a decline did occur along those lines with increased cases over a short period of time in younger adult males, which is consistent with the idea that there might be events. So not just the tournament itself, but things like greater frequency of meeting, etc., that might have occurred as a result of the tournament. So that may have a partial explanation.
Case numbers have been falling for longer in Scotland, where the recent peak in cases was on July 1, than in England, corresponding to an earlier elimination from the Euros. Roland Cowell, epidemiologist at the University of Edinburgh, said.
There are some indications as well that case numbers are changing, possibly not so much as a result of declining numbers of infections, but because fewer people are being detected. All right, so remember that most of the cases we get are from the PCR testing. So this is people going out and seeking to get a test because they have symptoms. Now, the Delta variant may have some influence on this, again, human behavior and others, but if you compare those results to the surveillance data, where the Office for National Statistics goes out and seeks data, there's a discrepancy between those, which suggests that maybe not so many people are getting tested and getting positive as was occurring, say, 1 or 2 months ago.
Cowell added that changes in testing patterns might mean that the sharpness of the drop is overstated in daily testing figures. Johnson has lifted restrictions in England and is betting he can get one of Europe's largest economies firing again because so many people are now vaccinated, a decision which marks a new chapter in the response to the novel coronavirus.
It's a very complex situation. So you've got multiple factors occurring at the same time. As we'd already discussed, the fact that vaccinations will have an impact, and they're going to push things in one direction. You get the release of restrictions on the other side, but behavior, of course, has that impact.
There you have it. Roland Cowell is an epidemiologist at the University of Edinburgh. Still staying in the UK, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that it was important that people did not draw premature conclusions about several days of better COVID case data and urged the public to remain cautious. This happened yesterday.
I've noticed that obviously that we're 6 days into some some better figures, but it is very, very important that we don't allow ourselves to run away with premature conclusions about this. The step 4 of the opening up only took place a few days ago. People have got to remain very cautious, and that remains the approach of the government. That the young people in this country are doing an incredible job of coming forward to get vaccinations. The figures are outstanding. I mean, it's like almost 70% now of 18 to 30-year-olds have come forward to get jabs. It's just wonderful, but it is a great thing to do. I would just say that my message to everybody is get your first jab if you haven't yet got one, but get your second jab too, and it will help you, protect your family, and help us all to move forward. I know that people have been frustrated about the pinging and the self-isolation. I totally understand that, particularly now as we're starting to see some better figures. But I think everybody understands that this is still a very dangerous disease. We do need to use the tools that we have. Self-isolation is the one that we've got. I urge people to do it, but don't forget, folks, that we're coming forward with the new system from August the 16th. We'll come forward with the test to release approach then. Until then, please can everybody stick with the programme.
Very often tennis balls
we always ask them, so do you want to please stop? Yes, definitely, yes.
Away from the UK and away from COVID-19, but still staying on matters of health. Now, the tobacco industry's sleek marketing is attracting youngsters to e-cigarettes, which can lead to tobacco addiction, despite claims by some executives that they aim to solve the smoking epidemic. The World Health Organization, WHO, has revealed.
Over 8 million people die annually from tobacco use and exposure to tobacco smoke, making the habit a leading cause of preventable diseases, the WHO said in a report calling for greater regulation of smoke-free devices containing nicotine. In a weekend interview with Britain's Mail on Sunday newspaper, Philip Morris International CEO Jacek Oswald was quoted as saying he wanted the tobacco group to be able to leave smoking behind. Some 16,000 flavors are on the market for e-cigarettes, including bubblegum, vanilla ice cream, and chocolate cookies, Crutch said, adding e-cigarette users were at least twice, if not 3 times, more likely to become cigarette smokers.
We know e-cigarettes are extremely appealing to children, and the industry's goal is to get a whole new generation of users addicted to these products. Tobacco and ends companies use sleek product designs. They promote through social media influencers and flavors which attract kids to these products.
Tobacco firms promote e-cigarettes through sleek product design, social media influencers, and flavors, said Kelly Henning of Bloomberg Philanthropies, which funded the report. Philip Morris sells IQOS, a device that heats up but does not burn packages of ground-up tobacco to create a nicotine-filled aerosol similar to that produced by e-cigarettes, which heat-flavored nicotine liquid. The company also started selling more traditional e-cigarettes in a few markets last year.
Let us be clear. If you have been part of the problem, or actually a big part of the problem, of killing 8 million people, we have seen many tactics in the past, like light cigarettes, filter cigarettes, menthol cigarettes, that also claim to be the healthier alternative.
Talking about the tobacco industry and their role, which is so intertwined with these products.
While the evidence is not yet totally conclusive on the issue of e-cigarettes, we know that they are also harmful. So therefore, I don't believe this time that all of a sudden you turn from being the real problem to being part of the solution. I don't buy that.
At COP6. Fourthly, we could try to make sure that
there's about 16,000 flavors currently for e-cigarettes, and bubblegum and vanilla ice cream, choco cookies, I think they appeal more to my grandchildren than to me. So if if that is not regulated, and I think Dr. Prasad and also Dr. Henning outlined very clearly how many countries have not yet regulated the use of e-cigarettes. That means that kids can go and get e-cigarettes.
Rudiger Courage is director for the World Health Organization Department of Health Promotion, and according to him, 8 million people are killed every year as a result of the smoke or intake of cigarette around the world. Away from some matters of health now to a landmark fraud trial. Now, a landmark fraud trial of 10 people, including a cardinal, began in the Vatican, in what officials hope will be a turning point in its financial credibility and show that no one is above the law. The headliner on the trial is Cardinal Angelo, who is 73 years old, formerly a senior official in the Vatican administration, and who becomes the most senior Vatican official to be tried for financial crimes.
Pope Francis, who lifted Bichiu's immunity so he could be indicted, fired him from his last Vatican post in 2020 for alleged nepotism. Bichiu has always maintained his innocence. Another formerly prominent defendant at the trial, which mostly revolves around the purchase of a building in one of London's smartest districts, is Swiss lawyer René Broha, once head of Vatican's financial intelligence unit. He denies all wrongdoing. The key outsiders are two Italian investment brokers, Gianluigi Tozzi and Raphael Mincoin, both of whom have denied wrongdoing. Hearings on Wednesday are expected to deal with preliminary matters, and then the trial is expected to be adjourned until October, when 2 hearings a week will be held. It took place in a makeshift courtroom in the Vatican museums because COVID restrictions and the number of defendants, lawyers and journalists make the Vatican's normal courtroom small.
And a landmark trial right there. Now, we go very quick, and when we come back, we take you to some sports stories. And at the Olympic 2020, the International Olympic Committee, IOC, has huge respect and support for the American gymnast Simone Biles. To tell you more of this, after this quick turn, stay with us. We'll be back with more.
The search for a reliable partner dealt in the sale of U-turn buses, genuine spare parts, its repairs and maintenance at a highly effective workshop with remarkable speed. We also have available the sale of Camel car batteries, Weichai and Kia spare parts, Zonton coaches and light-duty vehicles for everyday movement. Contact us on 020-000-0831 or 054-555-7500. You can also email us info@seautomobilegh.com or visit our website at www.seautomobilegh.com. SA Automobile, the pleasure of doing business with you is all ours.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. Now, it's some sports stories around the world. The International Olympic Committee, IOC, has huge respect and support for American gymnast Simone Biles, who pulled out of Tuesday's team event at the Tokyo Olympic Games. IOC spokesman Mark Adams has stated. Now, multiple Olympic champion Biles, one of the biggest names at the Games, decided to pull out of her team gymnastics final, saying mental health was more important than sports.
There is in the village, on top of all the psychologists and so on that we have there. There is also a helpline in 70 languages, which will keep going after the games. I know that at the last two athlete commission members' meetings in Lausanne, the forums, which had all of the representatives, those both in 2019 and 2021, that was one of the key moments of discussion. We have toolkits that are available on our website for NOCs, IFs and all those people, and the athletes as well, so I could actually read them out for you, but there's 4 or 5 different ones. And as I say, we've been having a series of webinars over the last year, I think it is maybe even longer, where we've been actually talking to all those people responsible for that. We have safeguarding officer, we have people, as I say, in the village. So for us, yeah, as with everyone in all areas of life, it's an incredibly important issue and one that's really finally come to the fore. Are we doing enough? I hope so, I think so. But like everyone in the world, we can do more on this issue, and we are, and we're really supporting the athletes in this.
Still on Olympic 2020 and Biles' withdrawal, former U.S. Olympic gymnast Dominique Dawes has expressed her support for Olympic gymnast Simone Biles, who dropped out of the women's team final at the Tokyo Summer Games, saying she had to focus on her mental health. Biles, who has ranked up multiple world and Olympic medals in a spectacular career, said on Tuesday, July 27, that the pressure of living up to expectations had left her no other choice but to drop out of a team final.
Definitely feeling a great deal of pressure. She is the GOAT. She is the greatest of all time. I mean, she wore a leotard that had a goat. She's done an interview with a goat. So that's a great deal of pressure, and the fans and the media and even people such as myself saying that she's the greatest of all time definitely contributes to that pressure. And everyone knew that Team USA would only be capable of winning a gold medal, I truly believe, with Simone on the floor. They did the best job that they could, and they ended up earning a silver medal. And I love in the press conference, I see that all those young ladies are laughing or smiling and they're feeling great about themselves. So for them, I love that it's not the color of the medal that'll determine if they're feeling good about themselves or their self-esteem is healthy. They feel great that they gave it 110%. And to see Simone there on the floor cheering for them, being the biggest cheerleader, was, something that was very warm to my heart. But she's friends to all of those young girls, and you can see it. It could be a simple skill, and you're overthinking it, and your body knows how to do it. Your muscles have memory, is what my coaches would always say. However, your mind then is overthinking the situation, and then you maybe balk a move, or you have a complete mental block and you are paralyzed and you freeze completely. And I feel as if that's really what happened to her, and I'm sure it scared her quite a bit. I'm not saying she hasn't gone through it before, but if you're in the competition and you do that, it's really hard to regain your composure, and then you're very concerned that you may then eventually injure yourself. But she needs to find a way to push all of that noise and chatter, even in her own head, off to the side, and recognize that she's done these routines thousands and thousands and thousands of times. And while this is the biggest stage ever that she's been on, this is her second Olympic Games, she's very capable of hitting her sets, or at least doing them to the best of her ability that day. She made that decision for herself, and I think she recognized that there was a possibility of her creating a very serious error that could lead to a very serious injury. What she does out there is very difficult maneuvers. She makes it look very easy. That's the problem. People think that what she does is very easy and maybe even easy for her, but it takes a lot of physical toughness, mental toughness, psychological toughness. And she felt off of her game and recognized that she didn't want to put herself in jeopardy, so she made the decision. That's what I love. Most gymnasts don't make decisions for themselves. They are robots. The coaches tell them what to do. The federation tells them what to do. The federation decides who's on a team. The athlete normally doesn't have a voice, nor does an athlete trust their voice. She not only has a voice, which I love, but she also trusts her voice. And she knows she's going to get a little bit of backlash from fans, and people are like, how could you let your team down or whatever? But the best thing she can do is shut off all this outside chatter. Anything that's not coming from her own head or from her support system need not be heard.
Dominique is a former Olympic. So still on the Olympic 2020, female athletes around the world and in different sports are pushing for their clothing to become more inclusive and less sexualized.
Last month, the Norwegian beach handball team was fined after they played their match for the bronze medal in the European Beach Handball Championship for breaking regulations by wearing shorts instead of bikini bottom. For Norwegian national beach handball player Julie Aspeland Berg and her teammates, it is a matter of inclusivity. Berg said the whole team was united behind the decision and hoped their action would spark some change. On the other side of the world, with the Olympics in Tokyo in full swing, clothing has also hit the headlines. The German women's gymnastics team opted to wear full bodysuits in qualifications on Sunday, July 25, in a move they said was designed to promote freedom of choice and encourage women to wear what makes them feel comfortable. Meanwhile, television coverage of the Games by the official Olympic broadcaster will focus only on athletes' performance and adopt a more gender-neutral approach to filming than may have been the case in the past, its CEO said. The Olympic Broadcasting Services produces the visual feed distributed to all broadcasters around the world. OBS CEO Yanis Exakol said the focus in Tokyo was only on the athletes' sporting performances.
And there you have it. It's all about inclusivity. And so if you are waking up this morning, just know that Samuel Techi is into the quarterfinals of the men's featherweight championship ongoing currently in Tokyo 2020. And that's some good news there for the entire games here and sports here in Ghana. Away from that, let's now talk about some business news on the world today. And first in the business news, International Monetary Fund has maintained its 6% global growth forecast for 2021, upgrading its outlook for the United States and other wealthy economies, but cutting estimate for a number of developing countries.
Now, these revisions reflect, to an important extent, differences in pandemic developments as the Delta variant takes over. Now, close to 40% of the population in advanced economies has been fully vaccinated, compared with 11% in emerging market economies and a tiny fraction in low-income developing countries. Faster than expected vaccination rates and return to normalcy have left upgrades, while renewed waves of COVID-19 cases in some countries, notably India, have led to downgrades. The upward global growth revision for next year largely reflects anticipated additional fiscal support in the United States and from the next generation European Union funds. Now, aftershocks from the upheaval of last year pose unique policy challenges. Pent-up demand and supply chain bottlenecks are putting upward pressure on prices. Nonetheless, in most advanced economies, inflation is expected to subside to pre-pandemic ranges next year. The emergence of highly infectious virus variants could derail the recovery and wipe out $4.5 trillion cumulatively from global GDP by 2025. Financial conditions could also tighten abruptly if there is a sudden reassessment of the monetary policy outlook, especially in the United States. A worsening pandemic and tightening financial conditions would inflict a double blow to emerging market and developing economies and severely set back their recoveries.
Are still in business around the world. U.S. stocks ended lower on Tuesday, July 27, led by declines in the Nasdaq as investors were cautious before results from the top tech and internet names on Wednesday's Federal Reserve announcement. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 85.79 points or 0.24% to 35,058.52, and the S&P 500 lost 20.84%.
Yeah, so it looks to me like the market's getting to the point where it's about as overbought as it can get. So in other words, we've squeezed every upside story for all the juice that's in there and ignored a lot of the downside stories. And I think a very, very robust recovery trade got way out over its skis. I think Delta variant's kind of humbling there. I do think we might see a little more accommodation to bullishness from the Fed. But I also think, hey, how much higher than we are going to go? We have an $8 trillion Fed balance sheet. We have, 10 years at 1.25. We have 30-year mortgages at 2%. We have a housing supply shortage, but the prices have gotten so high that it's tempering some of the excitement. I just sort of think that the things that got us here up out of the doldrums, they've gone about 110% as far as they could go. So we need a new story to go higher. Otherwise, we'll come a little bit back down to earth for a few weeks and maybe have a little bit retrenchment, which is healthy.
Still in business. Now, the relevance of facilitating trade and trade finance is indispensable in capitalizing the opportunities provided by the African Continental Free Trade Area. According to Selassie Kofi Akum, the CEO of the Ghana Trade and Finance Conference, now that the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System is the solution all African countries should immediately consider to help resolve cross-border trade challenges.
5th Ghana International Trade and Finance Conference was centered on the theme Facilitating Trade and Trade Finance, the Role of the Financial Services Sector. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia called for a robust legal and regulatory framework to protect trade systems across the continent.
Since payments are at the heart of the day-to-day operations of a free trade system, negative spillover effects can be serious if something goes wrong. And this is why, to ensure that the payment systems run effectively, they must be subjected to a robust legal and regulatory framework that assures all stakeholders. In 2019, the government of Ghana introduced a new Payment System Act, Act 987, to consolidate the laws relating to payment systems, payment services, and regulate institutions in the electronic money business.
Chonam Akpelo, the Greater Accra chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, said a common trade payment platform will facilitate trade under the African Continental Free Trade regime.
The tenants and prospect of AFTA will greatly be enhanced if we push for a uniform payment system that will make payments for cross-border transactions more convenient. The Pan-African Payment Platform, developed by Afri-Exim Bank, is one that I hope will facilitate cross-border payments. We would encourage Africa's central banks and finance ministers to quicken the pace of implementation and adoption of this platform.
CEO of GitFake, Selassie Akom, believes that the Pan-African payment system is the way to go.
We've all come to understand and agree here on this platform today that we cannot move forward without a robust, stringent, vibrant, prudent Pan-African payment and settlement system, because it's very, very critical in facilitating cross-border payments with regards to continental trade. So this has been the takeaway. The Vice President gave some good key advices in his opening address and advised the continent of the way forward. He specifically stressed on the fact that their member countries already have systems in place fragmentedly. So all there is that needs to be done is to have the platform, i.e. the Afri-Exim platform, open their switch for connectivity. So when each member state connects, it immediately works. So there's no time, he stressed. There's no time in implementing the cross-border payment system.
This year's event hosted governors of Central Bank of Francophone West Africa, Central Africa and West Africa.
This is still the Word to the Live on Metro TV Live on DSTV channel 277 at exactly 7 a.m. here in Ghana. This morning we'll be live on Metro TV with Koju Nanteji Cranton and Nanaya Washington Studios. We are back from break with more.
The world has seen a lot of evolution in recent times. Global network facilitated by trade continues to grow stronger and forge nations closer together.
On International Trade Focus, we'll share with you the current industry, tech and commercial avenues turning the world's trade wheel. This is your gateway to international business connections and trading events. Get the inside views, vital information, trends and analysis on emerging trade giants in Ghana and beyond. International Trade Focus, the global television trade showcase, transcending barriers in creativity and innovation. Join me, Anna Spiel, as I give you a whole menu of international trade activities. International Trade Focus, your timely business hub. International Trade Focus is brought to you by GO, ADB, Pediatric Valley Resort, and Public Elegance.
Welcome back, and now in some lifestyle news. Singer at UNHCR Annual Lifestyle Godwin Ambassador Barbara Henricks has spoken about the refugee cause ahead of the 70th anniversary of the 1951 Refugee Convention.
Sometimes I feel like a mother's child. Sometimes I feel like a mother's child. And bang, there was a bum. And it was just on the street outside. I kept singing. I grew up during the period of apartheid in America, and I was inspired by the civil rights movement. I was also, as a university student, campaigning against apartheid in South Africa. So as I began to read the material about the UNHCR, I realized that it could be a possibility for me to put into action my belief that there is nothing more important than the defense and the promotion of human rights for all, in every instance, in our private lives, at our workplace, as well as politically. During my time at UNHCR, I think there have been at least 6 high commissioners. My very first mission was to Zambia. The experiences.
And so we'll give you more of that story in a subsequent news bulletin. For now, let's cross over to Nanaya Bwachitanwa and Kweju Nyantachi quarantine as they are coming on at exactly 7 a.m. with the latest happenings in Ghana. What's happening? I can see the both of you conversating already. What's happening? Nanaya and Kweju, good morning to you guys.
Good morning, Bright.
Yes, and what are the latest here in Ghana?
So some troubling news from the Ashanti region where there are some upsurge in COVID-19 cases with both Alpha and Delta variants. I find it very, very troubling, and I'll touch on that as the news comes by. I don't know if Nanaya has something.
Yeah, there's also a Nigeria report that the committee has for us, so that and many more will be coming in the bulletin. Yeah.
Great. It's almost 7, and we are coming to exactly 7 a.m. for more here happening in Ghana. Thank you so much. And so that is Kweju Nyantachi quarantine and Nanaya Bwachitanwa on standby. Give you the latest happenings here in Ghana. That's it for the news this morning here, live on Metro TV. I am Bright and Akwesi Amani. Come here live from our studios here at Raging Accra. This is the Queer Boy Hima Studios. Catch you again tomorrow. Have a good morning. Bye.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Good morning and welcome to This Morning Live on Metro Television. We are live on DSTV channel 277 and also on Facebook and YouTube, Metro TV Ghana, and also you can follow us on Instagram, Metro TV GH. My name is Nanayata Nobwache.
And I am Kojonya Nteshikranting.
As always, we start with some motivational and inspirational quotes for the day. Okay, so the greatest inspiration you can ever get is to know that you are an inspiration to others. Wake up and start living an inspirational life every day, yes. And that's like a celebrity quote.
You know?
If you're a mentor, if you're an inspirational or motivational speaker, every time you know that, oh, the words that come out of your mouth or whatever you are doing, people look up to you. So you're an inspirational inspiration that people have to be inspired.
But you know what's dangerous?
What?
When people look up to you, but then you have no idea that people look up to you.
Yeah.
Because then whatever you do, any misstep you take, it becomes a consequence sometimes on them.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't wait to reach stardom before I know how to, take my steps. But then, do you know, lately we've been experiencing some wind chills?
I said today, yesterday I didn't turn on the fan before going to bed, and the room was so chilled. I don't know what is happening, but...
The weather lately has been a bit, deceiving. Because you realize at some point the sun will be up, and then you think, oh, it's going to be a sunny day. And then the next moment, things change. So if you're going out there wondering what the weather is going to be like, this is how it would be. And that's the weather for the next 24 hours. You know how important it is to keep tabs on the weather. It helps people with health-related issues to plan